Welcome back to another build video. Today I have my favorite Strand Hunter build, and it has been my favorite since Mothkeepers came out. I'm not saying this is a new invention because I've seen other people use it, but this is the one I have made and how I like to use it with my own little tweaks. So we will start with our subclass. We'll be using Gambler's Dodge to get our melees back, Threaded Spike, and Grapple because of the cooldown. For aspects, we'll be using Whirling Maelstrom so that we can spawn our green Beyblades to do ad clear for us. They're very strong, and I like using Threaded Spectre for survivability, and it also spawns Threadlings. For the fragments, we're going to be using Thread of Generation since it gives us grenade energy. It's almost always necessary. Thread of Warning for Woven Mail. We don't have another form of Woven Mail in this build, so we have to use this one. And for the next fragment, Thread of Rebirth, because it spawns Threadlings on strength weapon kills, and Thread of Evolution, so the Threadlings do more damage, both from the Spectre and from our weapons. Now, because this season we have very good artifact perks that help with synergize with these two fragments, you could switch these up next season or other seasons to use Thread of Propagation so that we can have Unraveling Rounds, which are really good. They're also anti-barrier, or you can use Thread of Transmutation to spawn more Tangles, or even Thread of Fury so that you can have more melee energy. Those are all viable options, and they can also be used anytime, and you can replace for those two. Next up, we're going to look at our armor and our mods. On our helmet, we're going to be using Harmonic Siphon for orbs, Heavy Ammo Finder, but feel free to change it however you want, access to assets for super energy on grenade kills. Next, we're going to be using Mothkeepers. This changes your grenade so that it spawns a moth. When it hits enemies, it explodes, dealing damage and blinding, but if it gets to you or an ally, it gives a void overshield. So very good for survivability and even for ad clear. Very good. So because of that, we'll be using Grenade Kickstar so we can have more grenades. And we're going to be using Focusing Strike to help our class ability, and Firepower to spawn orbs with our grenades. On the chest, we're going to be using just resistances, but feel free to change that if you want. On the pants, I really like using stacks on stacks to help us get to the max stacks of orbs faster, but feel free to change that. I like using Insulation for our class ability. Again, feel free to change it. And Recuperation is crucial. It's our way of healing. And on the class item, we're going to be using Reaper for more orbs, Bomber so that when we dodge we get grenade energy, and Powerful Attraction to pick up orbs around us. Now we're going to be looking at our weapons. I like using Final Warning. It feels really good. It does good at clear, and it pairs extremely well with Unraveling Rounds. So that's what I like using, at least for the moment. And I also like using Indebted Kindness. I'm just addicted to this gun. I can't take it off. It destroys anti-barriers. But feel free to use whatever you want here. And I am using Apex Predator. Does good DPS. And it also I'm using Overload Rockets so that I can get all 3 champion types. Now looking at our artifact. Piercing Sidearms so that Indebted Kindness can deal with anti-barriers. Overload Rockets so that I can deal with overloads with my rocket, and I have my grenades for unstoppables. Now Horde, Shuttle, and Unraveling Orbs are crucial because they give you Unraveling Rounds from picking up orbs, and damaging unraveled targets spawns Threadlings. Even Flint Striker can be useful if you kill some enemies with your rocket launcher and it's solar. And this can help us also with our armor charges, blast radius. Dragon Spy is kind of fun. If you break a shield with a strained weapon, they have a chance of getting suspended. Kind of nice. Wished into Being just gives you free orbs. You should have this on. And From Whence You Came increases our damage to taken and score, and I always have it on. So how you want to use this build is by just throwing grenades as often as possible to blind and do head clear. You can also throw your melee to sever targets, dodge near targets to create a clone and get your melee back, and your clones are going to take aggro from enemies. Make sure you shoot all your tangles to spawn as many Beyblades as you can. And that's pretty much it. Just spam your abilities as they're available. You can use your grenade almost as a healing grenade, throw it right at your feet, and it works really well. I hope you enjoyed if you watched this far, and I will see you in the next one.